When I was little, our refrigerator had colorful magnet letters that I could play with, learning how to spell my name, learning how to spell other words, even to make up my own words or send messages to my family. We know that manipulative tools and blocks teach young children that the building blocks to words are letters, and words convey knowledge and ideas. And we know the power of literacy and teaching it to our children at a young age. So for me, thank you to my mom and dad, and thank you, Sesame Street. But letters are also the building blocks for adult ideas. And the ancient rabbis understood this deeply. They imagined that God created the entire universe with the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet. And the blueprint is the Torah with its hundreds of thousands of Hebrew letters. And so from those letters comes a universe, a spiritual universe of ideas. There's an often told midrash that illustrates this focus on letters. It personifies all of the letters, and imagine them coming before God, the King of Kings on God's throne, lobbying to be the first letter to start off creation. One by one, going from Tav to Aleph, the letters approach God and make their argument. Tav says, Master of the universe, may it be your will that I can create the universe and be the first letter. Why? Because the word emet, truth, is focused and emphasized on Tav, emet. And you, God, are the embodiment of truth. So create the world with me. God responds, yes, you're right. But unfortunately, the word for death, mate, also includes your letter. And the Torah must distance itself from death at all costs, for it is the Torat Chaim, the living Torah. God rejects Shin and Resh and Kuf and so on. I can show you the source if you want to read all of that. And then it goes up to Gimel and Daled, who are siblings. Perhaps they are twins. And they say, we make up the word Gadol. Great. You, God, are El Gadol. You are the greatest. Create the Torah with us, perhaps with the word Gadol. And God says, sure, yes, thank you for the praise. But you two need to continue to do Gemilut Chasadim for the Dalim. Dal is poor. Gemilut Chasadim is acts of kindness. God needs you, twins, to be there for acts of kindness. So we're left with the letter Bet. Bet comes, God, you can bring bracha, blessing to the whole universe. Create the world with me. And also notice, I go straight out into the future. And God says, yes, I'm going to create the world with you and start the Torah, Breshit bara Elohim. In the beginning, God created. What about Aleph? Silent Aleph. Aleph doesn't even come to God. But God understands and has compassion and says, Aleph, we know that you are silent, but you stand for Echad, unity. I, God, am alone, Echad. So you are going to be the first letter of the alphabet. We know where that word comes from. Always for eternity. God creates the world with letters. There's even a book, Sefer HaYetzirah, 2,000 years old, very intricate, that gives characteristics to all the letters like truth and earth and wind and fire And all of those aspects come together to create a cosmic spiritual universe. But what about the Big Bang Theory and all of the science that we have? Well, if you think about it, the Big Bang Theory is imaginative too. We have very little proof that the Big Bang Theory happened as we imagined it, that this big ball of mass, totally compressed, pops open, and over billions of years expands out. Same thing like the building blocks. Instead of one is letters and the other is elements and stars. Hebrew is the original language of the Jewish tradition. And so really, in essence, the Hebrew letters are what's used to create our tradition. And so we encourage everybody to keep reading Hebrew and keep it alive, because too much is lost in translation. Genesis 2 talks about the creation of humankind. And the words that are used and repeated often are Adamah, earth, Dam, blood, and Adam, humankind. All of those are interconnected. Through humankind is Dam, the life force, but we are also of Adamah. We are of the earth. We are the combination of body and soul. And Hebrew gets that across much more than just saying earth, humankind, blood. You lose that in translation. God's very Hebrew name, Yud, He, Vav, He. Letters, Hebrew letters. We can't express that in English. God, Lord, even YHWH. What does even that mean? Unless you know that it comes from Hebrew. The Bible was first translated into Greek in the Septuagint. I'll talk a little bit about that next week. And there were some people who celebrated, finally, the Torah can be open to greater audiences. But it also was criticized for loosening our reliance on Hebrew. Many of us know the adage that translation is like kissing somebody through a veil. Something, even some essence, is lost through translation. So I suggest that we continue to embrace translation. You'll always hear me say, pray in Hebrew or in English. But I also want to encourage us to keep Hebrew alive. Many of people in this room and who come often have come to me in private and say, Rabbi, I feel really inadequate because I can't read Hebrew very well. And they'll even say, Rabbi, you pray too fast. And I'll accept that as a legitimate criticism. And you often say, I feel ashamed. I don't want to tell everybody. I'm looked down upon because I don't know Hebrew. Well, I'm here to say, first of all, you are heard and seen, and you're not inadequate, and you're not alone. Plenty of us struggle with Hebrew. It is not an easy language. So wherever you are on the proficiency scale, use this next year, use this summer to move just a little higher. Take things one step at a time. Learn the letters, learn the vowels, the phonics, and then start learning that there are roots to the words. Adamah, Dam, Adam. There's actually some logic to it, though like every language, there are always the inconsistencies and the breaking of the rules. It is my hope that through today's sermon and the sermon series throughout July, and then in 2 weeks when our scholar Ilon Gilad, who has really inspired me just about the power of the Hebrew language, connecting us to the ancient, to now, and moving us into the future of the state of Israel and of the Jewish people, will allow us to grow in our Hebrew knowledge and really our connection to our tradition, to the one above, and to each other. As always, I'm here for guidance and questions. You are not inadequate. I will meet you where you are. And of course, there are many tools to learn Hebrew, and I will help you find them. And perhaps we can see if there's even energy to build a Hebrew class here at Temple Israel. So until next week, when we'll describe and explore the written Torah, the development of the actual letters themselves, I wish you a Shabbat Shalom U'Mivorach, a blessed Shabbat. Amen.